Welcome to Winter Disco Tabletop Gaming. Today we are putting together some Primaris Outriders, some of the Primaris bikes. I'm very excited about these. You can kind of see what they're going to look like once we're finished. So we're going to start off with let's go to Sergeant first. Oh, we'll do it in whatever order it is. So A1. So it generally looks pretty straightforward. Everything sort of goes in like that. So you build the middle, put the body on, build the outside, and there we go. So it looks like the legs, I don't know if you can see there, the legs are connected to part of the bike itself. So I was hoping to separate that completely and then paint the body separately, but looks like we're not going to be able to do that. So instead of that, we're just going to put it together. So let's start E27A and E27B. So there are one sprue with the 3 bikes. So not too bad. It's not too bad. It's a weird split right there if you can see it. It's kind of strange. But let's get this puppy going. So E27A, E27B. That's what we need to find. E27B is there. And then E27A. So we got 3 and 15A there. And then 27A is all the way at the other end, which is a little strange, but it is how it is. So I'm trying a new camera setup again. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do this. I'm not entirely happy with how it's all been going, but it is what it is. And I hope you have been enjoying this ongoing long series of constructing all these models from the Indomitus Boxset. And of course you should be able to get these bike models separately later on at some point in the future, or maybe you've already got them, maybe they've come out already. So if we look at this just slides in just like that. Apparently there's a little notch. Okay, so it goes in like that. So put some glue on there. And there's some little things in there that you can just glue it to, and if you really want to, just dab a bit more glue here and there, and it will go in fine. So I might actually use the tweezers for this, if I can find my tweezers. I think that it's not overly difficult to put in. It's not actually going to work with tweezers. Tweezers aren't too big enough, but just so you don't get glue all over your fingers like I'm prone to do. Alright, so that's gone in. Now, we need to do the main body of the bike here. So you can see that E26 and E25. So on the sprue, E26 and E25 is 13, 14, 4 and 2. So it's going to be these ones up here. So 26 and 25. So they are at the... Actually, I have the sprue around the wrong way, so they're at the bottom of the sprue, but on the smaller piece. Yeah, so I hope you are playing along at home. I have been really enjoying putting these together, and I've been looking forward to doing the bikes. I haven't actually done any bikes before, so this is going to be pretty cool. So what I'll do, I'll put the bikes together and then I will trim it up. So, remember about the instructions. So it looks like there's a peg on the back of the bikes that the big one will go in, and then there's a little one, and there's pegs either side, so that's fine. So, I'm just trying to get this to line up properly. So that seems to be, let's just line it up straight first. Okay, so you can see how that little bit that we put into the wheel before, it slides into there, and then the wheel slides on the back. I don't know which side it actually goes on. So it must go like that. Yeah, so it slides in like that. Interesting. So it needs to be straight. I'm just playing around with it just to see if that's correct. Because the peg needs to go into the ground at some stage. So imagine the ground's down here. Actually, let's bring a base out. So it needs to go into a base like this at some stage. So if we move that around, looks like there's a little tab there. If I get that into shot. And then a little bit of glue down there. So if we get this correct, that should go into there like that. And also we do have a bit of room to play with when we have to move it around, so that's fine. And I'm not going to cut the pegs this time. I'm just going to do a little bit here and there, mainly on the bigger joint bits, just so we can get it all together. Alright, that should be enough. Okay, so if we line it up, it should just slide right in and click together. Okay, bit messy, but that's all right. Okay, so you can see this does actually grip in there, and that seems to be, if you push it all the way around, that wheel will lock into place. Okay, so there is a bit of mess on here, so let's just clean that up. Seems to be a little bit easier once it's all put together, that then you can go in and do it, but I've got to be careful that I don't, firstly don't cut myself, then also don't cut the bolters. And I'm just looking through just to make sure that it is glued, it is sticking together and straight. It seems pretty straight, so that looks good to me. Alright, let's cut a little bit more off. I think I might need a new knife blade. That should be fine. So you shouldn't see that. I think you do see this, but if you do, we can come back and clean that later. And the bottom, it doesn't really matter on the bottom because that's going to be on the ground. I will clean it anyway, just because I know it's going to be there. Okay, so we have that part. Now, the next bit, we have to put the body in, which seems a bit counterintuitive, but because of how the outside armor is cut, you have the legs on it, so you've got to do that. So we'll build the body. So we need to get E 28, 29, 30, and 31. So let's see what we can pull up for this one. So let's just double check. So 28 through to 31. So there's 29 at the bottom of the sprue. So that's the front. Let's see what else we've got. 31 is the backpack, so careful with that one. And I know we'll need 32 later, but we'll come back to that. We also need, what do we need? 30 is the back of the body, so sort of working my way up the sprue. So there we go. Now we need a head, I believe. So we got 1, 2, 3. So yeah, we need the head, which is E28, and it's right at the top there. And it's only a bare head in the kit. I don't think there's any extra parts in here, so I'm not sure, but we'll see. We might have some stuff left over. There are a few bits and pieces from other sprues that are left over, and I'm pretty sure from the Necron Warriors in this Indomitus box, you will get some weapons left over. Okay, so first bit first. The back here, the head goes in first. So let's just tidy up this head a bit. It's nothing too much, but because this is a curved surface and a somewhat flat surface, you should clean the sprue lines off this. Okay. So looking at it, I'm not quite sure how it goes in, so we'll just put it in, and then once the rest of the body it comes in, it should get into place. It seems to look that way. Or the other direction. I think it's actually the other direction. So it looks like it's actually looking that way. I'll bring that a bit closer if you can see. Not sure if it'll focus or not. Then we put the front on. So the front, let's just clean up the bottom of that. Not that you're going to see this part, but it will allow you to join it together a bit easier. There's a little bit of sprue there, didn't cut off. Okay. So just put a little bit of glue here and there. And that will go together nicely. And yeah, as soon as you push it in, the head moved into the correct position. Okay, so we got that bit. Now the backpack. Normally, I don't put backpacks on, I leave them off right to the end, but in this case, we're going to have to put it on because it needs to go into that part of the bike first. Which is a bit of a pain to paint, but you could definitely do this all separate. Have the different bits all in like little sub-assemblies and things like that, but... And it looks like there's a few extra pegs in this backpack, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why they don't do that normally. Let's just bring up a backpack here. No, they don't have it on here. On the backs, in this one here, if you can see, there's 3 little keys. And that would be really interesting to have if they have the reverse version of that on the backpacks, which they don't. But they have a big cavity there. But that would actually make putting them on easier. At least you can get them straight. Sometimes you just can't tell if they're straight or not. So now we need to put this body in. And there is a peg there, if you can see. And this, it slides right in perfectly. So we just need a little bit of glue. We'll put a little bit of glue all over the place. Probably a bit more than necessary. And it just slides in. And he sits there. So you do get access to the backpack. So you could leave the backpack off and then slide it on and glue it on later if you wanted to paint it. But because it is a little fiddly to get in there and paint, I would say. But it's fine. You're not really going to notice too much at the back there. Then the next step is the handlebars, which, if we look at the thing, is E34. And that has an arm attached as well. I imagine that when the full box comes out of these, because they have to be releasing a box for them, they will be multi-part kits. So it won't be as like structured as this, which is kind of nice. I'm excited for that, looking forward to that. I think that'd be really cool. Simply because, you know, we haven't had any new bikes for Space Marines in a long, long time. I think the current versions came out in like the 90s or something like that. I don't know. It's been a very long time. I remember when they came out in the 90s. I don't recall newer versions coming out since then, because I was out of the hobby for a bit as well. So I don't 100% recall. Alright, so we'll just clean this up a bit. Nothing too major to clean. We can always come back and fix it up later. There is a line somewhere that I think is going to be an issue. What was it? On the end of the handles. I think that's going to be a bit of a pain, but I can always come back with a little file and sand that down. So I've got to say, on this sprue, there's definitely more pronounced mold lines. More than the other ones in this kit. So, you know, your mileage is going to vary. It's all going to be different for each when pressing the gap, but, you know, something to consider. So, the arm. So it should just slide into there with no issue. A bit of glue at the bottom and on the top there. And that just goes right on. So that will involve some fiddling around in a second. Now, we need the 35 and 36, which is the outside and the legs. So I'll just move that out of the way for a moment. So was it 35 and 36? So we've got 24 and 23, 4 and 2, and 13 and 14. Then we have 12. Am I even looking at the right things here? 35 and 36. Where are we? 36 is there. 33. So 12, 28. Sorry, it's 11. I'm just trying to find where it is. 35. There it is. So it's on the big sprue. It's the one at the bottom and one at the top there. While this kit is all very 3D cut apart, for like an easy to build type of kit, I do wish it was a little bit more broken up. I don't mind how it's all like all one bit, but you know, sometimes you just want a kit to get your hands into and just have a bit of fun and just take ages to build it. I do like very complicated kits. I think they're kind of fun. I think when I do get one of those kits, I'm not sure exactly what for yet. Maybe one of the new Necron ones. I might do a live stream if you're interested. So I should be able to do a live stream. Internet is generally pretty crap here in Australia, but I have my ways. So there are a lot of things definitely to clean up on this. It's a little messy. And you want all these panels to be pretty flat and straight. But we can always, it's a bit flimsy too, so it will pay to be careful. Yeah, there's lots of bits. Like on the bottom, you don't have to worry too much. But just for the sake of doing it, I'll do it. I know in the last few videos from the Indomitus Boxset, I started to not get rid of all these marks and just get the build done, but for this, it looks like you're gonna have to for a few, because you just don't have access to the points after a certain part of the build. Like with the body, just gets to a point where you just can't do anything, and I've just completely massacred that, but that's fine, it's on the bottom, you're not gonna see it. But we will get that, because you will see, if you look at that, that's the angle that you look at it from side on, so you generally won't see anything underneath. These ones definitely will, but I'll come back later and probably try and sand that all down. So let's just get through the final few bits here and we'll stick it together. And then there's only a few other little bits and pieces to stick on. Yeah, it is a shame that these mold marks or sprue marks are right at the middle on these flat panels, which are going to be like front and center, which is disappointing, but there's only so much you can do unless you 3D print them or design it in a way where the mold line will be down here, and then just do some extra paneling in there to get rid of that. And we do need to fix the helmet up, if I can actually get a grip on it, because that's something that you will see. So there definitely is an art, I guess a technical art, of designing something that's going to be working in injection mold, where with 3D printing you can just sort of, you can fudge it a bit, because you can just print it as one object rather than have to do it in multiple parts. Yeah, slower and generally a bit more expensive, and you don't always quite get the detail, but it does make the models easier to produce. Probably not in the long run. I think with injection molding, you've got a mold and it'll just keep going. And it doesn't take too long, it only takes a couple of seconds. Alright. Now, let's see if we can get this correct. So it seems to be this one goes that side. So there's two big pegs, two giant big pegs that you can see there, and they will slide into there. So you can actually put a lot of glue on here, and it'll all slide in. Looks like the leg also, there's a little peg there for the leg. So we can do a bit of that. And we'll just do a little bit around here as well. Don't think there's anything else that we really need to pay attention to. Okay, there's a few spots that you can definitely glue on. So on the back, that looks like a pretty good spot. So I'm just going to duck some glue in there. And that will go onto there eventually. So we'll just hold that down for a second. I do love these bikes. I know they're very low riding, and if you hit a pebble, they're going to just completely fail, but I think it's kind of cool. I like it. And this one is the same again. So we have a few different spots that that can go into. So it looks like we've got, I might actually put a bit more up there this time. On the leg and there, and I think that's one there too. So there it is. Yeah, so there's a little peg there that it pops in, and I don't know if you heard that little pop. that was the glue coming out. So if you have watched some of the other videos in this series, and if you haven't, definitely go back and watch, because we're doing the whole Indomitus box set. I usually do cut a little bit of the tip of the peg off, and that gives a little bit of extra space for the glue to go in, because sometimes it just doesn't go in. So yeah, you can see on here there's so many little mold bits, but you're not even going to see it. So okay, you can see this section hasn't gone in properly, but what I'm going to do gives me a chance to, oh, this is a bit risky actually. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to, so let's have a look at some of the painted images here. I just want to double check something here. So, okay, on these models, you can see on the top of the gun there, if we'll bring that one round next to it, get it all in shot, that would be nice. There is no mold line or joint. That's something to look out for. So what they've done, more than likely, they've gone in with some green stuff and filled in those gaps. So you can see there is a bit of a gap there. That can be filled up with glue. Well, not glue, sorry, green stuff. If it is glued properly, it should slide together, but you will still get a gap. And even when you check on this bit here, it is not straight. It comes to like a bit of a point there. So that's interesting. Yeah, so I may get some green stuff in and pack it in and then send it back, because it is very, very noticeable. Because these things are not going together even close, and it's not even flush properly. I don't know if you can really even see that just above the bolters. Try and get it right in the middle of the screen. Yeah, it looks like it's not even flush. So that's one of the other issues with injection molding. Can never get it 100% perfect. But you know, I'm sure someone, I love 3D printing. I've got a 3D printer. One day I will buy a resin 3D printer. I'm sure someone has already got 3D files of these up online. I'm sure they have. So now we need a few more bits. The arm, shoulder pad, and the chain sword, which is amazing. So it's 32, 33, 37. So 32, what have we got here? We got 9. 32 is over here with the bolt pistol, or a heavy bolt pistol. Can't actually remember from the rules. I think it's a heavy bolt pistol. Then we need 33 for a shoulder pad. So I'm just looking around. There it is. Up that way there. Nice easy shoulder pad. And 37, which is the chainsword by itself, which is very nice. An actual chainsword without a hand on it. Always have more of those. So I will clean this off, because cleaning it once it's connected it's not difficult, it just gets a little bit flimsy. And we are almost done with this build. And in a few seconds we will have a Primaris Outriders Sergeant. Kind of dug into that a little bit, but that's fine. I'm not too fussed. And if you've noticed, I haven't been drilling the barrel holes out. I'm just not going to. I always wreck them, but you know, you can put a little dab of black on there to sort of hide that. Alright, that's all that was there. And then the chainsword. Yeah, on this one, like I said before, the mold lines are definitely very pronounced in this particular mold. All this pressing. So I don't know if that's the mold in general, because I haven't seen any other. I haven't had issues so far like this. But I would imagine they would be pressing a lot more of these. If this is the box, and I have a feeling this may actually be the box. I'm hoping the Outrider box will be multi-part with a few extra bits and pieces. That's the hope, but it may not be. So they probably have already pressed a ton of these. I don't know how long the molds last. They generally last pretty long. Alright, that's going to do. Okay. let's get this thing going. So what I first want to do, I want to actually get this arm in, because I'm a little worried about it, to be honest. Because I've left it a little bit longer than I really want to, particularly with this. So there's still a little bit of wiggle room in there, but I want to make sure that that all goes in properly. Okay, so push it in. It seems to be okay. No, it's not. Alright, it's going to hold that for a second. Get a bit of traction on there. So you could... No, you do need to put this the handlebars in first before that. But what you could do, there's nothing to stop you from putting this arm on first. So you put the arm on and the handlebars on at the same time, and I think that might actually work better. And then you put the outside sections on after that, because it means everything can get into the right space, the right place, and glue together. Okay, that's fine though, it worked. Now we put on this arm. So push that in, and that just slides right in. So you do get a little bit of play, but oh no, it's very defined where it goes. And then, what side does the chainsword go on? Oh, there should be a little peg hole somewhere. Ah, it goes right in the side of his leg. So, okay, so it goes this way, like that. No. Oh, that's the vent. Right, okay. I'm getting there, I'm just, you know, a little slow sometimes. So that there's a little slot. Oops, I get the view. A little slot right there that you can dab a little tiny bit of glue and then glue that on. There we go. And we'll put that into the base. I'm not going to glue it yet because I have a few. Oops, it didn't work, but that's fine. Okay, that's in the base. We'll pick this puppy back up, stick it back on, and that will stay on there. There we go. So I'm not going to build the other ones. It's generally the same. I'll pull them off camera. But there we go. I do like these models. I know you can kind of see how low riding it is. It's going to handle pebble and you're going to go flying, but I like it. And there's still little bits and pieces you can clean up, but you can get access to those. Yeah, I like it. What do you think of this model? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this build series, definitely subscribe, because we've got tons more coming on, and building is one of my favorite parts of the hobby, even though I'm probably not that good at it. So I'm definitely going to be doing more. Yeah, it's really nice. It's a really nice design. I love the chunkiness of it. Yeah. So until next time, thank you for watching, and I will see you later.